It's that time again. I love to make these videos because I love talking about all the new releases, and I have about 10 to 15 watches to go through in this video. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into my first watch on this list of new releases you need to check out. The first watch on this list is a Seiko. It is the new Seiko 5 Sports collaboration with Bamford, which was kind of unexpected. This gets a clear dial and, of course, lume, because Bamford is known for lume. These are Seiko 5 Sports. They are the dive style watches, 100 meters of water resistance, a hard Lex crystal, a day date, and that's where the lume comes in. That day wheel, the center wheel of this watch through that dial, is fully lume. So there's a lot of lume on the dial, but it is concentrated in that disc. And then of course you have applied indices, those are lumed, and then you are getting a lumed bezel. There's some orange elements in that. This is the SBSA 315. It is a limited edition, and it does look a lot like the SRP J41 if you are familiar with that watch. So kind of cool. I really like the look of this watch. And this one comes in at 42.5 millimeters, 100 meters of water resistance, a hard Lex crystal, and the 4R36. Since this is being released in 2025, this is a limited edition of 2,025 pieces, and the price on this is $460. Hodinkee are back with a new limited edition. This time they are teaming up with Nevada Grenchen, and they are collaborating on the Nevada Grenchen Antarctic GMT. This is a really good looking vintage inspired watch. However, Hodinkee have put their own twist on this watch, and the major thing that they have updated is the crystal. So this usually comes with an acrylic crystal, a lower depth rating. They are putting a sapphire crystal on this watch and upping the water resistance to 100 meters, which is really good. Also, this gets a Soprod 125. If you're not familiar with that movement, it is a GMT movement from Soprod that competes with ETA, the likes of the 2893. So this is actually a pretty nice movement that they're putting inside this watch. It's the same movement that comes in the standard model. So there was a limited edition on that standard model when that first came out. That is already sold out, so this is a new limited edition, and this is limited to 225 pieces, so not a lot of watches for what I think is a very good looking vintage inspired GMT. The colorway here is gray, and they're putting a gray pass-through strap, which I think looks really good. This is a 36 millimeter watch. It's priced at $1,750, and I do want to remind you that the Soprod C125 is an office GMT or a military GMT, just to keep that in mind. Considering the price, I do think this is a really cool watch, and I love the heritage behind this because this is a reissue. Overall, a great looking watch for the price. Literally hot off the presses, Longines have released two new Spirit Pilot watches. They have made some significant changes to these watches from the current versions. First, they have removed the stars from the dial. So previous versions had stars. I think they're going to still be selling those versions. However, this is just a different version of the Spirit. This looks a lot like the current versions. However, it is now in 39 millimeters. You're getting no stars on the dial, and this is dateless. Also, they're upgrading the bracelet, so you are getting on-the-fly micro adjust, which is great. These are very good looking watches. This is powered by the L888, which is a great movement. And then there is the chronograph version. You're getting all the same treatment here. So no stars, 39 millimeters. You're getting the on-the-fly micro adjust, and you also get a manual winding caliber that you can see from the back, and you get a column wheel. It looks great. These are very good looking watches. They both get 100 meters of water resistance. The price on the chronograph is around $5,500. The price on the Spirit Pilot is around $3,100. That chronograph does get the L792. That is a flyback chronograph, and they have changed the bezel to a countdown bezel. So this looks a lot like a Type 20 because it is a bicompax chronograph. It's a little bit cleaner. The next release kind of rocked my world when I saw it. Timex have released a new dive watch. However, it's not just any dive watch. This one has been designed by Giorgio Galli, who is their main designer, and this is their Atelier collection. This is basically a luxury dive watch by Timex. You are getting a lot of specs for the money. This is a Swiss-made watch. You're getting a Swiss-made automatic movement inside. It is called the Catena SA100. I've actually never heard of this movement. I had to look it up. It looks like an ETA clone. However, you can see it from the back. It's not a bad looking movement. You are getting a domed ceramic bezel that is loomed. There's a little bit of a design at 12 o'clock that makes it stand out. It looks pretty cool. And then of course, you are getting a beautiful case that is somewhat skeletonized. The mid case is actually DLC coated or ion plated. I'm not sure which one, but it is black. And then all of the bracelet, very similar to the titanium version that they came out with not that long ago, although that was more of an everyday watch or a dress watch. You have hollowed out links across the entire bracelet, and that bracelet has their system that is spring loaded. So each one of the links is spring loaded. You can change the size of your bracelet on the go. It gets a butterfly clasp, not a diver's clasp. So that would be the only complaint that I have about this watch. Other than that, I think this is a very good looking dive watch, a somewhat original design, especially when you're looking at it from the side. Direct down, from top down, it doesn't look as original, but it definitely is an original looking watch. These come in at $950 on a rubber strap, $1,050 on a bracelet. I highly recommend getting these on a bracelet. These are not limited, but with that being said, a lot of their watches, when they come out with watches like this, they are a limited run. So they'll make these for a few years and then they will stop selling them. In fact, they may even sell them less than that. These come in at 41 millimeters, around 13 millimeters thick, and 200 meters of water resistance, and a sapphire crystal, of course. Very good looking watch, and I cannot wait to get one of these. I really want to feature one of these here on my channel. It's not very often that Hamilton update the Khaki field. However, very recently they updated their Khaki field and they have added a power reserve. Now, I know some people will absolutely hate this watch, but when I first saw it, I actually really liked it. It sort of drew me in, and I really like the position of that power reserve. They put it at the 9 o'clock position, but towards the center of the dial. It doesn't break up the symmetry of the dial, and it is level with that 9 o'clock position. It is actually pretty symmetrical. These are 40 millimeters, 100 meters of water resistance. You can get them on a bracelet or a strap. You're getting the H23, which is their hand wound movement, 80 hours of power reserve. These are $945 on a pass-through strap, and then $1,025 on their 3-link bracelet. Power reserve is at the 9 o'clock, like I said. However, it does say full and empty, so F and E. I really like that because it kind of reminds me of a cockpit instrument or maybe even a dashboard instrument. I'm not sure if that's what they were going for, but I really do like that. And overall, I find these very attractive. Bulova getting in on the affordable diver game. However, they are not using the Bulova name. They have come out with a Caravelle. So this is a reissue of a Caravelle that was out in the 1960s and 70s, their Sea Hunter. This was a very popular watch and a very good looking watch when it came out. I actually owned one of these vintage watches. These are a reissue of that watch. So it's a little bit bigger in 39 millimeters. You are getting an automatic Miyota movement inside. You get a mineral crystal, and these look a lot like those vintage watches. 200 meters of water resistance. There are 4 different versions available. I have them hands-on, all 4 versions. I will link up above to these watches. Definitely check out the video that I made for full pricing details on all 4 versions because I have them hands-on, like I said. So definitely check out that video. I will put a link up above and down in the description. Another watch that I featured here on my channel is from Kaiser Design. This is an all titanium watch. It gets a titanium dial a titanium case that has an exoskeleton. That is all 3D printed and then hand finished in their studio in Germany. So the case, the dial, everything is made in Germany except for the strap and the movement. The movement is the Sellita SW200. They put a custom rotor on there. However, the dial is really the show on this watch. I love the dial. It gets 250 CNC operations to get that texture. So each one of those are drilled into the titanium dial. It looks fantastic. This is grade 5 titanium, so you're getting a grade 5 titanium case and a grade 5 titanium dial, which is kind of rare. It's 42 millimeters and it gets 100 meters of water resistance. Price on this is $4,875. And I do want to mention each one of those cases, like I was saying, are hand finished. All of the indices are hand finished, and it's all done by one person who is a goldsmith that is part of their team. They're only a 3 or 4 person team. So if you want to watch from an independent brand, but you don't want to spend big money, but you want that quality, definitely check out this brand. They are fantastic. Another watch that I featured here on my channel, and I have this hands-on, is the Formex Essence Ceramica, now with solid dials. However, they have made some significant changes to this watch from that skeletonized version and all the other Essence in their collection. This gets a new movement. It is the Newton from Soprod, a very good looking movement that is completely customized for Formex. This is a fully ceramic watch, a fully ceramic bracelet with on-the-fly micro adjust that is adjustable on wrist. A world's first, and I always say that Formex is a brand of firsts. This is a really cool watch, COC certified, 100 meters of water resistance, and of course it gets their patented suspension system, which makes their watches very, very comfortable. Price on this is around $3,400. It is on the more expensive side, but when you consider what you are actually getting, it really isn't all that much money. There aren't many watches out there that compete at this price point and give you what a watch like Formex gives you. So definitely check these out if you are interested in getting an all ceramic everyday watch. Vaer are back with their take on a tactical watch. And I love this trend going on in the micro brand space currently. Tactical watches are having a moment, and I really do love a good tactical watch. And this is a very good tactical watch. It's called the Vaer C4 Tactical Field Solar. It's 41.5 millimeters. I also like that they aren't shying away from around a 42 millimeter watch. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially for a tactical watch. It's either available on a pass-through strap or a rubber strap. 200 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal, 3D printed lume, which is C3 Superluminova. It's basically blocks that are applied to the dial. This gets very, very bright lume. It's solar powered, so that means you're getting an Epson VS42 movement. So basically a Seiko movement inside this. It's made by Epson. And then the price. The price on this watch is $479 if you want it in stainless steel. It's slightly more if you want it in black. So this is a PVD coated case at $499. Very good looking watch. I cannot wait to get one of these hands on. Last but not least, there are 3 Timex releases that I want to talk about, and Timex have been on a roll. So I already mentioned the Timex Atelier. There are 3 more that I want to mention because you guys know I love Timex, but they keep on coming out with really cool watches. The first is a very affordable watch, obviously the most affordable watch on this list. It is the Timex collaboration that they have done, and there are 2 different versions. There is a digital version and an analog version. The digital version is the one that I went for because I think it's just really cool. $75, you're getting a Timex collaboration with NASA. It says NASA on the dial. It says NASA basically all over the strap. These are straightforward digital watches, but they are available in 2 colors, NASA white and NASA orange. They're calling it Flight Suit Orange. $75, you cannot go wrong with one of these watches. I highly recommend them. I really love mine. The next Timex I want to talk about is a Jetsons collaboration with the Marlin Jet. It makes so much sense. If you know the Jetsons, you're probably around my age. It was a cartoon that was out in I believe in the 70s and 80s. I don't remember exactly when, but I used to watch a lot of the Jetsons when I was a little kid, and now they have collaborated with Timex to come up with a watch. It's basically a Marlin Jet silver dial with the Jetsons on the dial. You're getting a leather strap rather than a pass-through NATO strap, and it has a blue underside, so Jetsons blue. You get all the same details that you get from the Marlin Jet, that beautiful domed acrylic crystal, the internal bezel, that bowl-shaped dial. It's Art Deco. I love this watch. It's automatic, powered by an 8 Series Miyota movement. And the price on this is $369. A great value for a very good looking watch. Last but not least is Timex and Pan Am. This is the watch that I have been waiting for them to come out with, because this is just a beautiful Pan Am inspired pilot's watch. It's automatic. It gets a sapphire crystal. It is 41 millimeters and it gets 100 meters of water resistance. It gets an 8 Series Miyota movement inside, so it's automatic as well, and it's priced at $349. You honestly cannot go wrong if you're in the market for somewhat of a special pilot's watch. This is definitely a watch you should take a look at if you are into Timex. I really want to get one of these as well on my channel. It's in Pan Am blue, and then of course it has the Pan Am logo down at the bottom of the dial. It's a very simple setup on this watch, but very effective. Tell me what you think about all of the choices that I have presented you today for new releases. There have been some other new releases that I maybe have not included in this video. I might come out with a second video with some more releases, because there have been so many releases over the past month. Tell me some of the releases that you would have included in this video down in the comment section below. Anyway guys, that's really it. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. That's really, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.